What are your default settings? Last night was one of the first nights in a while that I didn't really know what to do with my time. It was, most nights of the week or even of the month, Nadine and Corneva and I have something either planned or something spontaneous that we do to spend quality time with the people that God has placed around us, whether that's people from our small group in our church or people in our community, or even just knocking on the doors of people that in our community who we haven't even met yet but want the opportunity to meet. And last night was one of the first nights in a while where I had kind of reached out to a number of different people and had a meeting scheduled, but then that meeting got postponed. And then the people that I reached out to weren't available, and I kind of found myself just being at home with my wife and my daughter, which is obviously not a bad thing, but being a little bit restless and uncomfortable, a little bit like, wow, like I had planned to spend time with people tonight. And so what ended up happening is I just spent time, of course, with my family, with my wife and my daughter, but it was a little bit uncomfortable. Not because I don't love them, but for the simple reason that our default settings as a family have really become, hey, we're going to default to spending quality time with the people around us who God has placed around us, building into them, being built into, helping them to journey on their discovery towards Him. And so on a night where we had the availability and the time to do that, and it just didn't happen, and we just spent time together, it was obviously not a bad thing, but it wasn't our default setting as a family, because that has become to go and intentionally spend time with others. And I think this is actually part of the key in our Western, consumeristic, very busy, very self-focused culture to being an authentic disciple of Jesus in our spheres of influence and in the communities that God has given to us, is that we need to alter our default settings. See, because that's not what I just described, is not the way that our culture teaches us to operate, is it? Our culture's default settings are predominantly either to fill all of your time with activities for your kids, or just driving all over the place that you actually never really do spend quality time with people, although I'm sure you could in those different actual activities if you were intentional about it. But the other option, the other default setting that our culture often provides is, hey, our default is going to be, we're just going to spend time together as a family, or even just all do our own thing in the home on a nightly basis. And it's going to be the special thing when we go out of our way to schedule something with someone and to spend time with them. That's the exception rather than the rule. The rule being we're just going to stay at home and do our own thing. I wonder what would happen if more and more followers of Jesus in our culture today switched that around, changed their default settings as individuals or as a family or even as a church, and began to say, hey, it's going to be the special, unique thing when we're just at home doing our own thing, watching Netflix, whatever. Actually, the regular thing, the default thing, the instinctive thing is going to be spending quality time with people. I wonder if more salt and light would permeate our society that way. And I wonder if some of the rest that you feel like you need and are lacking, which is the reason why you do your own thing so much of the time, I wonder if actually you might find that spending that quality time with people, even people you haven't met before yet, actually is going to become more life-giving and fulfilling and rest providing, because you were created for that kind of relational connection and intentionality than what you were doing before. Maybe.